Do you want to be a successful sports person, guys? Do you want to be a successful football player like Lionel Messi? Do you want to be a successful cricket player like Virat Kohli? So, these are certain exceptional people who have achieved great heights in their life in the realm of sports. So, it can be football, it can be cricket, it can be basketball, it can be volleyball, it can be lawn tennis, it can be badminton, any sport or any game. If you want to know about the combinations of greatness and the combinations which can make you a successful sports player, then you have to watch this video till the end, because in this video I'm going to mention several key points which are indicators, strong indicators of a good career in sports. So if you want to know about the secret about who can become a successful football player or who can become a successful cricketer, that is, who can become a successful sports person, then first you have to subscribe to Purab's Universe, guys, because only if you subscribe to Purab's Universe you will get access to such different content. And after watching this video in its entirety, if you have liked this video, hit the like button. If you have disliked this video, hit the dislike button, but show me your genuine reaction. So, hey guys, what's up? I hope you guys are doing great and I welcome you back to Purab's Universe. So let's straight away jump into the topic and let's find out the combinations for becoming a successful sports person, right? The first important aspect for all the horoscope, not only in the case of a footballer, for a successful life and for achieving something great in life, it is very important for the ascendant and the lord of the ascendant to be strong, because you are the ascendant, you are the Lagna lord, and in whichever dignity, in whichever placement the Lagna lord is placed, if it is well placed, if it is strong, if it is in its own sign, if it is exalted, if it is in Kendras, if it is in Mool Trikon, then you are gonna have a lot of influence in this world, guys, because the Lagna lord becoming exalted shows that your influence and your impact in this world is at an exalted level or is at a high level. But on the flip side, if the Lagna lord becomes weak in the chart and the fifth lord and the ninth lord, that is the lord of the fifth house, which is the giver of good health, and the lord of the ninth house, which is the giver of good fortune and bhagya, and also according to the concept of Bhavat Bhavam, the ninth house is the fifth from the fifth. So this also gives good health. So if these two houses are also afflicted in the chart, that means this person is a bit weak and the chances of achieving extraordinary feats are a bit less. But if the lord of the first house is well placed, if the lord of the fifth house and ninth house are also supportive, then definitely the person is going to create a lot of impact in this life. The next important thing is that for a cricketer, for a football player, or for a person who is involved in any sort of game or any sort of sports, the importance of Mars cannot be understated, because Mars is the planet of willpower, stamina, courage, energy, muscle power, right? It is the ability to fight in the enemy domain. So when cricketers or football players or people who are doing any sport are going to some other country and they are showing their willpower, their muscle power, their energy, and they're trying to conquer in enemy land, that is how Mars gets exalted in a Saturnian sign Capricorn. So it is very important that the placement of Mars should be very strong in the horoscope. The Mars can be either placed in the first house itself, or Mars can be placed in the 10th house in its exaltation sign Capricorn, or it can be placed in its own sign Scorpio. Also, Mars gives amazing results in Gemini and Virgo, especially if this Mars is placed in the third house in Gemini or the sixth house, because Mars gets strong in the third house, which is the Parakram Bhav, the house of courage, and the sixth house, which is the house of competition, and a fighter like Mars does exceptionally well in the sixth house. So if you have the placement of Mars either in the first house or in the third house or in the sixth house, or if it is placed in own sign or friendly sign in the 10th house, that means your Mars is strong and you can have a good career in sports, guys, because your physical energy will be high. Now on the flip side, if Saturn is aspecting Mars, then Saturn will sort of try to suppress the energy of Mars, and you have to put extra efforts for your physical strength, for energy, for stamina, right? But if there is no Saturn aspect over Mars, then definitely this Mars is going to take you high in a sports career, right? The next important point is that you must have a strong third house in your horoscope, right? This is the house of war cry. This is the house of challenge. I challenge you, damn it. This is the house of your arms, your muscle power, the strength of your shoulder. This is the house which represents the strength of your team and your younger siblings, your brothers. So your team members are like your brothers, right? So the third house, the placement of third house, the lord of the third house, the planets placed in the third house becomes very important in getting a successful sports career. And if there is a strong placement of a planet in the third house, Mars exalted in the third house, Sun exalted in the third house, Mercury exalted in the third house, then it's a very good placement. Also, if the lord of the third house is exalted, or if it is placed in Kendras, or it is placed in the 6th house or the 10th house, then also it shows that there is a lot of scope in a strong environment where there is a lot of courage required to sustain. So if you have a good third house, you will get the support of your brothers, right? The next point is that you need to have a strong Mercury in your horoscope. Why Mercury? What has Mercury got to do with sports? Well, sports is something where you play and the game is first won here and then it is physically won in the field, right? So Mercury is intelligence, Mercury is logic, Mercury is your wit. So what sort of strategy should be used to win in this game? What sort of a idea the competitors are bringing and how to challenge the competitors? What sort of a fight you can put up? What sort of a strategy, kutniti, you can do to win in the fight? That is seen by the placement of Mercury. So if Mercury is placed in the 3rd house, the 6th house, or the 10th house, or the 1st house where Mercury becomes very strong in own sign, in exaltation, that is in Virgo, its head office, then also it's an amazing combination for becoming successful in sports. But first you have to have a strong Lagna Lord, then you have to have a strong Mars, and then you have to have a good Mercury to achieve all these feats. Just having a Mercury exalted or in own sign will not help you. It has to come in the ascending order, right? The next point is that you need to have a strong 5th house in your horoscope. 5th house is sports. 5th house is fun activities. 5th house is where luck influences, and sports is 50% hard work and 50% luck. All right, luck has to shine over the person to become successful. So the energy of the 5th house is very important. The planets in the 5th house should be strong, either a strong Rahu in the 5th house, or a strong Sun in the 5th house, or Jupiter in the 5th house, Ketu in the 5th house, especially in the signs of Leo, or in the sign of Libra, or in the sign of Gemini, or in the sign of Virgo. These are signs which can push you towards sports, entertainment, and areas where you have to exert yourself, your creativity. And also the 5th house is the house of stardom. So if you are a very good football player like Lionel Messi, or if you are a very good cricket player like Virat Kohli, you become a star, right? You are a celebrity, you get that status. So the 5th house becomes very important. And it is very important that malefics should not aspect the 5th house or the 5th lord for your luck to support you continuously. The next important point is that Sun is the ruler of the sign Leo, which is the energy of the 5th house in Kalpurush, the horoscope of the universal man. So it is very important for the Sun to be well placed in your horoscope. If the Sun is exalted in the 1st house in Aries, if the Sun is placed in the 1st house in Leo, if the Sun is placed in the 5th house itself in Aries or in Leo or in friendly signs, that's an amazing Sun. And this Sun will support you in luck, in creativity, and in fun and sports activities, because it is the energy of the 5th house in Kalpurush. The 5th house is also creation, creativity, and sports is where you exhibit your creativity. Sun placed in the 10th house is also very good because it sort of appreciates your status and it gives you fame and stardom, especially if Sun is the 5th lord. In the case of an Aries ascendant placed in the 10th house, it's a good yoga for becoming successful and famous in sports. The next point is that in the horoscope, you have to have a very strong 6th house, guys, because the 6th house is the house of competition. And when you are in any sports or when you're playing any sort of game, you are actually competing, right? You are fighting for winning. So the sixth house is all about winning over your enemies, winning over pressing situation, winning over competitors, right? So the stronger your sixth house becomes, the stronger your chances are to win over your enemies. And if the sixth lord is exalted in the sixth house itself, if it is placed in Kendras 1, 4, 7, 10 in friendly signs, or if the sixth lord is placed in the eighth house and the eighth lord is well placed, then these are good combinations for winning over enemies. If you have Saturn in the sixth house, Rahu in the sixth house, Ketu or Mars in the sixth house, that is Malefics in the sixth house, it is also very good for fighting against your enemies and winning over competition. And such a strong sixth house really pushes a person to win in many games. The next point is that you have to have a good 10th house and 11th house. 10th house is your public visibility. The 10th house lord determines what sort of a profession or career you're going to take in this life. Alright. So the strength of the 10th lord is very important, because if the 10th lord is debilitated, then the masses or the public will not support you. They will not lift you to the status of a hero. So it is very important for the horoscope to have a good strong 10th house. The lord of the 10th house must be well placed. It should be either in Kendras, or it should be in the 10th house itself, or the 11th house, or in its own sign, or in its exaltation, for the 10th house, that is the public, to support the person, to worship the person, which is called hero worshipping. Alright. So the 10th house dignity is very important. Also, if there is a connection between the lord of the 5th house with the 10th house, or the lord of the 10th house with the 5th house, this is also a strong combination for winning in sports activities. Similarly, the 11th house is the house of your network, the house of the connections that you have. Alright. So in cricket or in football, you play in clubs or you play in teams, right? Now it is very important, because if your 11th lord is well placed, if it is in the 11th house itself, or it is placed in 1, 4, 7, 10 or 5 or 9, or if it is exalted, or if it is in Mool Trikon, that means the support of your team members, or the support of the person who is running the football team or the cricket team comes to you. Alright. So whatever desire you have, because the 11th house is the house of fulfillment of desires, whatever wishes you have, that you want to play in the national level cricket team, or you want to play in the national level football team, all these desires are fulfilled through your network and through your connections. So the 11th house is very important, and the 11th house is also your colleagues. So how supportive your colleagues are with you comes from the 11th house. So if the 11th house is strong, it will fulfill all the desires and it will support you, because sports is often played in teams. And also, if there is a parivartan, that is an exchange between the 5th house and the 10th house, and the 10th house and the 5th house, that is the lord of the 5th going in the 10th and the lord of the 10th going in the 5th, then it is also an amazing combination for success in sports. And the final point is that if you have Leo coming in your 10th house, and if you have Ketu in Leo, or Sun in Leo, or Mars in Leo, or Rahu in Leo, then it becomes an amazing combination for having a successful career in sports, guys. So this is what I wanted to convey to you, the combinations for becoming a successful sports person, a football player like Lionel Messi. I am a Messi fan. Or a cricket player like Virat Kohli. So that's it for today, guys. This is Purab signing off from Purab's Universe. I hope you liked and enjoyed this video. Adios, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.